Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. My name is Amelia Perez. Thank you so much for coming back. I really appreciate the support. I really appreciate you guys coming back, liking, subscribing, sharing my content, and for all the feedback that I've gotten. I really appreciate that too. It helps me improve and get better every video, which I definitely want to do. So please like, subscribe, comment, share, everything you can. Share it on all your pages. I really appreciate it. So happy Saturday, you guys. So number one, it's Dodger Saturday, right? The Dodgers game 6 today. It's win or go home, right? They got to force that game 7 versus the Braves so they can win. So super excited. Can't wait for all my Dodger fans, right? Second order of business, I want to give a shout out to my nephew, chillin'. As you can see, I'm repping, right? So for all my Instagram people, please go at Shop Chillin' and check out their gear. They got hoodies, they got beanies, they got snapbacks, they got t-shirts, sweaters, they got workout clothes, anything and everything, boys and girls, right? Ladies and gentlemen. So please go to their shop, support, check out their gear. If you like it, buy it. You won't regret it. I got this and I got a couple t-shirts that are pretty fire. So, hey, I got to shout out my people. Right, I got to use my platform to help support the homies, and so that's my nephew, and his lady, so at Shop Chillin'. So, good morning, you guys, or good afternoon, right? And I just want to take the time to share something with you guys today, something a little different. So, something I read that I think will add a massive value to your life if you get the book and read it, and it definitely is adding value to mine already. It's something that I'm still working on. It takes 21 days to break a habit. Look it up, right? Google it if you think I'm making it up. 21 days to break a habit. So it takes us to be intentional about changing a habit 21 times in a row, 21 days in a row, to be able to really train our mind to behave differently. Because it's more than just a willpower, right? You have to train your mind to do something different than what you've trained it to do before. So it's a science, right? You got to make sure that you're tackling it on all ends if you're trying to definitely change your behavior or improve in an area of your life. So what I want to talk about today specifically, I'm not going to go through the entire book. I'm not going to go through it in detail, right? It's going to be like the Cliff Notes, right? Because I want you to go get the book. And that's another reason for this post is for you to, or this video for you to get the book, add it to your library. You will not regret it. It's $10 on Amazon. Do it. Thank me later. Before I show you the book, all right, I thought, because you know how it is on Amazon, man. Sometimes they don't really tell you the size of these things. So I thought it was a regular book. It's a baby book. But at the end of the day, the words are still the same. So here it is. Don't make fun of my baby book. All right, The 4 Agreements by Don Miguel Ruiz. All right, New York Times bestseller. Boom. There it is. Add this to your library. All right, it's cute. This one's cute, compact. I mean, I don't know. It was kind of hard to read the words because they're small, right? And I know we went to I went to college. I get it. We all have to deal with the small font, presentations, all of that at work. Yeah, but I would rather have a normal size book. That's all I'm gonna say. But at the end of the day, it is what it is. It's in my library. I'm keeping it. I love it. I recommend it to you guys. So what I'm going to do in this video is I'm going to break down for you the 4 agreements, right? So please feel free to ask questions in the comments. And yeah, let's get to it. So number 1, right, the agreement is to be impeccable with your word, right? Be impeccable with your word. Now, off the bat, it definitely means what it sounds like. Basically, mean what you say, keep what you say, right? Be ironclad with your word. You say you're going to do something, do it. But it goes a little deeper than that, right? So the author, right, he breaks down why your word, right? Why your word, right? And for those of you guys that are followers and have read the Bible, you know it says it in there as well, that the power of the tongue is immense, right? Your tongue has the power to create life, but also to sentence death, right? And in the same essence, the author talks about how your tongue and your words specifically can create life, that can create dreams, that can create love, that can create so much positivity and abundance in your life. and how it can also be, like a double-edged sword, also create negativity. It could create envy. It could bring violence, destruction to your life with the words that you say. The words that you say in any kind of situation either bring someone up or bring someone down. And those things, those feelings, manifest in different ways and have different ways of coming out physically, right? And it's not just violence. It can also just bring violence to your property. It can also bring down your integrity. It can change everything. You can change everything with the power of your words, right? A perfect example of this, right? And I'm not trying to get all psychological on you, but something we can all relate to, right? Is the power that a parent's words have on their children, and the impact that the words that a parent says or doesn't say to their child, what that does to the child growing up, and how that manifests in that child's life through their relationships, through their friendships, right? Relationships, love relationships, work relationships, friendships, right? Just basic interactions with other individuals, right? A lot of that, all of it, most of it stems from our childhood, right? And what we were taught versus what we were not taught, what we were told versus we were not told. A parent's words has tremendous power in shaping how a child sees themselves, right? And I think we can all relate to that, in our early 20s as we were coming of age, right? I think, and I'll speak for myself, I didn't always have the best self-esteem growing up. And, I'm not going to get into detail here, but I will say that words were not my mother's strength. Yes, she was a woman of great love, great compassion, right? Great action for those in her family and those who she loved. I mean, she did a lot of great things, but she wasn't perfect. And her words hurt in a lot of ways. And as I got older, I understood, well, that's what she learned from her parents, and that's what she received. And so she's just repeating what she knew. It doesn't make it right, doesn't make it wrong, but you have to understand, and you want to understand why somebody would do that and why they would behave that way, and why that would be their natural reaction. So, usually when you're looking back at the whys, right, of someone, of why they did this, why they did that, you go back to their childhood. And a lot of it goes back to how they were spoken to, the words that were said to them repeatedly, put in their head as they grew up, which shapes who they are to themselves, who they are to themselves and what they see themselves as, who they see themselves as, the kind of person they see themselves as they grow up. When you hear people say, oh, I'm just someone who doesn't know how to communicate, right? I never learned how to communicate, I don't know how to express myself. Well, that's because no one in the house expressed themselves, right? No one who had a big role in their life showed them that it was okay and showed them how to do it. And that's why they have the issues that they have. So it's very important to be mindful of your words, and I'm just saying the parent thing is an example, a mentor or someone who's a adult figure in someone's life, a coach. How many times has a coach's words to you triggered something in you, positive or negative, right? I think we all can remember a time growing up that an adult person said something to us and made us change, a dream that we had, something that you wanted to do, something that you thought was possible, and they convinced you of otherwise. Or you didn't have anybody growing up that said positive things to you. Good job. I love you. You matter. And it's not about being mushy or being like a trophy parent, but it's about building a positive individual, right? Building somebody up with love and positivity is not teaching them to be soft. It's teaching them to be confident, right? Because growing up, you need someone to tell you those things so you can believe those things, right? And so that's something that the author breaks down in the chapter, right? And what does it mean to be impeccable? Well, to be impeccable, means that you stick by what you say, and you make sure that your words have integrity because of the action that follows those words, right? another example of being impeccable, to put it in a way maybe easier to understand, is, making sure that you don't gossip about people, that you don't spread the negativity about other people, right? Because gossip, if you think about it, is like a virus in the computer, right? What does a virus in the computer do? Well, it spreads. It spreads and it hurts everybody and everything that it touches, including the person or the source of the virus, right? Like the host. So, anybody that comes in contact with gossip, including yourself, loses something, right? You lose part of your integrity, part of your impeccability when you do that, when you talk about others, when you spread negativity to other people, no matter how you rationalize it, right? Because I'm guilty of it too. We all love to gossip, right? But that doesn't make it right? And we should challenge why we gossip and why does that make us feel so good, right? And is that something that we really want to be doing when we're trying to build, right? And we're trying to manifest positive things out there for ourselves. So that's the first agreement. Second agreement, which, is, I'll say that it's one that I could relate to probably the most, because I'm guilty of this 1,000%. If you know me at all, you know that this can be me. It can be me. I've worked on it and I've improved a lot, especially over the last, I think, year, right? But if you've ever known me in life, oh yeah, this is Amelia. She's done this before. Sorry, but you know how to do it. I'm a coffee lover, so coffee at any time of the day is good. Second agreement is, don't take anything personal, right? Don't take things too personal, right? And one of the things that he says in the book that really challenged me and I really liked was, he says, taking things too serious is the maximum expression of selfishness, because we assume everything is about me, right? And that made me like, whoa, right? Taking things too serious is the maximum expression of selfishness, because we assume everything is about me, right? As we grow up, right, as we are being raised, we are taught to take things personal, right? We are taught to that what someone else thinks, right, of us is a reflection of us, right? Take responsibility for what someone says about you, what they think about you, right? Take that on. And in actuality, what someone says to us and how someone treats us has very little to do with us and everything to do with them. Whoa, right? And when you understand that, it's a powerful thing, right? When you're someone who takes things super personal, right? Whether it's what people say to you, how they perceive you, if they disrespect you, right? It makes us easy prey, right? For predators, right? Who want to take their mess and put it on you, put their insecurities on you, put their fears on you. And when you take things super personal and you get all upset and you get all, worked up about it, they take your joy. They take your peace. It does nothing for them. It does nothing to them, right? You have to learn and understand that, right? That when someone is coming at you and when someone is not treating you right, there's something going on with them. And they're deflecting it and putting it on you. And you don't need to take their words, their actions personal. It has nothing to do with you. It says nothing about your worth. It says nothing about the kind of person that you are, right? Understand that everyone sees the world in their own way, right? Think about how crazy that is. No two people see the world the same. No matter how tight you are, no matter how close you are, no matter you guys grew up together, you could be in the same house, right? Choose any family. Look at the siblings. All different. Come from the same mom and dad, same environment, same experiences for the most part, right? Different. Everyone sees the world differently. Everyone interprets the world differently based on, what they've learned, how they've learned to rationalize things, right? Their belief system, in their mind. Not what they were taught, but what they've internalized and how they see it. So you can spend all your energy, all your time trying to convince someone else to see things your way, and they're never going to see things your way. Even if they say, oh yeah, I see it your way, they don't. They're trying to, be empathetic, but they don't truly see things your way, because no one can, because no two people see the world the same. Right? Even your own opinions about yourself are not real. Trip out on that, right? Not even your own opinions about yourself are real. So don't take that too personal. Right? I don't know about you guys, right? But if I'm being honest, I'm my hardest critic. All day, every day, hands down. No one speaks more negativity in my head more than myself. If I allow myself. And I got to check myself a lot of times in the day and say, no, we're not going to do that today. We're not going to do that today, because I don't think many of us realize how important that self-talk is. And how much it can really take out of you if you don't watch it and you don't check it. And I'm guilty of that. As he goes on in the chapter, right, he talks about expecting people to lie to you. Expecting people to try to one-up you. Try to get one up, on you. Right? Why? Because he puts it in this perspective. And it's not always malicious. It's not like people are always conning and, trying to deceive you. But at the end of the day, we humans are flawed. How many people do you know that you can say in your circle, right? And if you were honest with yourself, you would say this about yourself at some point in your life. Lie to themselves. We all know that one person, right? Your husband or your wife is having an affair. Everybody knows. But they don't act on it. Right? Or that, your wife spends all the money, or your husband spends all the money, is financially irresponsible, gambles, has a drinking problem, whatever. People lie to themselves. So why would people not lie to you? Right? Sometimes people struggle in this life to just be honest. Right? So the point that he's making is to not take that action from others personal. Don't take it as a reflection of your worth as a person, as a friend, as anything. And if you do that, and if you learn how to master that and react that way versus the natural way, which is for us to take things personal, right? Like, how dare that person do that? How dare he? He or she. We'll be able to live in a better peace and better harmony, because we'll know, and own what's truly ours, and not take on something that belongs to someone else. You're not responsible, right? Well, I'll say this first, right? Trust yourself and be honest with yourself to see the truth in other people based on their actions, not on their words, right? Words mean nothing without action. So don't listen to what somebody says about themselves. Watch what they do, right? And they will tell you about themselves, period. And when they tell you about themselves, when they show you about themselves, believe it. Too many of us believe the version of the people we love that's in our head. Yeah. Too many of us are clinging to a version of someone that only exists in our head. It doesn't exist in real life. It doesn't exist in their head, in their mind, or to others around you. So we waste time, we waste energy, right? That we can never get back on someone who is not there yet and who is not ready to make the necessary changes. And everyone knows by now that you cannot change someone who, number one, doesn't see any reason to change, and who doesn't want to change, and who doesn't see it for themselves. Right? So let's finish up with, you are not responsible for the actions of others. Only yours. That's it. And once you truly understand that, you're going to live with immense power and immense freedom in living free without the fear of rejection. You're going to be able to love 100%. You're going to be able to trust 100% and go 1,000 in life. And if someone does you dirty, you aren't going to take it personal, because you know what? At the end of the day, that says something about them. And it says something about what they're dealing with and what they're struggling with, not you. So you can move on and say, you know what? I loved 1,000%. And even though I got hurt, I learned something. And I enjoyed the time for what it was. And I can move on. And I can love again, because I know that at the end of the day, that's why we're here in this life, is to love. And that's a totally other podcast, right? That we cannot get into. But we are in this life to love each other, to support each other, and help each other out. Not to trample on each other. All right, third agreement, right? We're going to keep this thing moving here. All right, third agreement is another fire one here for my Leos and for those of us who get in our own way sometimes, right? I don't know if it's a sign thing or a me thing, right? Third agreement is don't make assumptions. Right? We all remember when our teacher taught us, right? Put it on the board, assume, right? It asked us the question, what happens when you assume? And you're like, what happens when you assume? You make a what? An ass out of you and me, right? So what happens? That thing never goes out of style, right? It's an easy thing to teach. When you assume, you make an ass out of you and me, right? So don't make assumptions, right? And let's dive a little deep into it, right? Why not? Right? What's the biggest problem with assumptions? Well, the biggest problem with assumptions, if we're being 100% honest, is that we think our assumptions are 100% true. Right? That's the problem. Who's guilty of that? I'll raise my hand. I'll be straight up. I'm guilty of that. You know, like at a quick knee-jerk reaction. Boom. Right? We assume that our assumptions are true. Right? We make assumptions about other people, about what they think, what they do, why they do it. Right? Because we know everything, right? We take it personal. Then we blame them. And then we react by sending them emotional poison. You ever done that before? Yeah, I've done that before. Yep. I made an assumption about something and about a situation, got super upset about it, reacted like a jackass, only to find out that it wasn't what I thought it was. Everybody has. Why? Because we're talking about it. It's human nature for us to react that way. That's the way I don't know if it's human nature as much as it's the way we're brought up, right? I think it's a little bit of both, which is what we're tackling here, right? We see what we want, we hear what we want, right? We don't see things how they are. And then we get afraid to clarify, right? We dig our heels in, and we're not going to change our mind. Nope. Hey, we might be wrong, and we might have realized a little bit after we dug our heels in that we were wrong, but those heels are already dug in. And I'm prideful. You know, I'm not going to be like, nah, I made a mistake. Oof. I mean, that's our natural reaction. For most of us. If this doesn't apply to you, you're freaking awesome. But I think if you're being honest for yourself, it applies to you. Right? And it applies to me. And it's something that I'm so glad, because this book has made me super aware of, called me out on my BS, right? But now I want to do something about it, right? And that's a beauty of it all, right? Is recognizing, and then recognizing that there needs to be change in your action, and then having the opportunity to do that. Right? So how many times have you done that? Right? Dug your heels in, found out you were wrong, and you're still not going to apologize. Right? It has nothing to do with age. It just has to do with maturity and understanding, right? Emotional maturity, right? which doesn't come with age. Knowledge doesn't come with age, right? It comes with reading, right? Taking an active role in educating yourself. Surrounding yourself with people that are smarter than you and real and will tell you about yourself at all times, right? Not afraid to hurt your feelings, right? It's common in relationships, right? How many times have you heard a partner, because it happens in both genders, say, they should have known that. They should have known that would make me upset. They should have known how I would feel. They should know how I would react, and they should have not done that. How many times have you heard that or done that? Right? I remember being young in a relationship, getting mad at a girl, and saying, man, like, to myself, not to her, because I was a horrible communicator. Dang, she should have known that talking to this person or doing this would piss me off. And then it would cause me to react crazy. Right? They should know that. Why? Because they know me. They know me. And if they know me, they should know how I'm going to react. How many times have you heard that crazy statement? Right? No one is responsible to read your mind. It doesn't matter. We've been together 10 years, 10 months, 40 years. No one is responsible to read your mind. You are responsible to communicate your feelings. Straight up. Right? You are responsible. You have the responsibility to communicate clearly and not assume. Right? In marriages, right? Because what happens if you don't do that? If you don't do that, right? People get hurt. Their feelings hurt. Right? Then you're mad at your partner. You're stomping, around the house. And your partner's like, why are they mad? What's their problem? Completely oblivious or not going to give you the satisfaction. They're like, you know what? You're not going to talk to me. You're not going to communicate. Go ahead and stomp all you want. I'm not going to give into this foolishness. So it also happens in marriages, right? At times, there's no real conversation about what either person thinks or expects on their marriage, right? So you got two people that are in love. I love you. They're in a honeymoon phase, right? They want to get married. But before they get married, they don't really talk about what their expectation is about marriage. That's something they should be talking about, right? That is something you should talk about before you get married. What do you expect happens in marriage? Like, what do you want out of it? What do you think your role in it should be? And vice versa, right? That's like a basic conversation that a lot of people do not have. They do not have it. And so what happens is it creates problems, right? Because the communication is not good. And then what happens when the communication is not good? Actions are bad. People get mad, right? People make assumptions. Actions follow those assumptions. And you have this, right? So how do you avoid these things, right? I think I said that, right? It's pretty obvious. How do you avoid this? Ask questions. Do not assume. Ask questions. Make sure everything is clear. Take the time to clarify. Take the time to validate each other's understandings, right? Because a 30-minute conversation will save you a freaking headache, a lifetime of headache, whether it's divorce, separation, bad marriage, whatever, right? This also applies to dating, right? So I'm asking you guys, how does assumptions when you're dating somebody create issues and false expectations? Right? How does that happen? Well, it happens because if you're dating somebody and you guys are not talking about important things as far as like, are you guys on the same page with things, right? Then what happens? Usually what happens after a big blowout fight, right? Then you find out about this person not being like the perfect person you thought they were. And you're going to be like, oh man, they changed. Or you're going to be like, oh, I didn't know that about them. Did you know? Didn't you though? Right? How many times does someone show you something about themselves, but we don't recognize it because we're not even faced? I love her. She could do no wrong. Yeah, she's stubborn, but I like it. I think it's cute. Right? That's one I'm guilty of. I used to think it was cute when a girl was stubborn. Let me tell you now, in my mid-30s, it's not cute. It's not cute when a girl's stubborn. And so, but I didn't understand when I was younger that by telling them it was cute when they were stubborn, right? We were having a real fight and they were stubborn, that I didn't think it was cute then. And she didn't care, right? Because I had already accepted it. It had already been a thing. And so now I'm going to act all like it's all brand new. Like now it's a problem. And it's like, but why? Right? Did I assume that person was going to stop being stubborn after a while? Because, if they love me, right, they'll change for me. How many times have you heard that craziness? If they love me, they will stop doing the things that make me upset. Because that's what you do when you love somebody. No, that's what you do when you love yourself. You change when you love yourself. Right? And if you don't have enough self-love to change something about yourself that's detrimental to you and your relationships, then you really shouldn't be in a relationship, not a committed one, for sure. Right? Because when you're talking marriage, when you're talking long-term dating, that's a different ballgame. Right? And if you're dating not for those things, then why are you dating? You're just giving yourself away. But that's a whole nother podcast that we're not going to talk about right now. Right? Why try and change somebody? You know how hard that is? Let me ask you this. How hard is it to change yourself? Right? If you're honest, changing yourself is longer than a 21-day process. 21 days is to change a habit. But to change yourself and to change your mindset and how you truly respond to things takes time, discipline, effort, consistency, honesty, self-reflection, self-love. Right? And if that's hard for us to do for ourselves, why would you think that somebody could change for you, even if they wanted to? See, a lot of us, right, and I'm going to say us, right, think that if they don't change for us, then they don't love us. Because if they loved us, they would do everything they could to change for us. And that's not true. People can only change for themselves. We are not on this earth to be a beacon of change. And when I say that, I mean, it's not like we can't inspire and we can't be a vehicle of change. We can definitely do that, right? Because they need support. They need a village. That's where we come in. But the will, the want, that comes from the individual. The need comes from the individual. Everything else around them, their immediate family, their friends, their network, their village, is all an extension. Right? So that's important to remember because a lot of people waste time and effort and resources trying to change someone else. And that's just a waste of time. So, the biggest assumption that we have, I'm going to wrap this up or this agreement by saying, the biggest assumptions that humans have, because this is really important, right? For you to really understand when you're on this journey, right? Of learning how to, not make assumptions. Our biggest assumptions is that everyone feels the way that we do, that everyone loves the way that we do, that everyone judges the way that we do. And that's just not true. You have to be mindful of these patterns and then take thoughtful action to change your habits. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is a mastery of love, a mastery of life, and a mastery of gratitude. I'm going to say it again. You must be mindful of these patterns and then take thoughtful action to change the habit. And this is a mastery of love, life, and gratitude. All right, so the last and final agreement, all right, which if you don't do this and don't apply this agreement to the three that I just talked about, it's not going to work. You're not going to be able to get to the level that you want to get to, and you're not going to be able to really take in all the benefits and all the peace and happiness that comes with these 4 agreements. You're not. right? This is the most important agreement. You ready for it? You ready? Always do your best. Always do your best. This agreement is about the action that needs to be taken in the first three agreements. You always have to do your best in every situation. Regardless of the quality of your efforts, always do your best. Regardless of the quality of your efforts, always do your best. And your best might be different depending on the day, depending on the situation, right? If you're 100% healthy, your best is going to be different than if you're sick, than if you're drunk, right? If you're scared, right? Your best might look different, but your best is your best. Always give your best, right? Not more. You don't want to give more than your best because you don't want to burn yourself out. Because if you burn yourself out, your best might end up not being good enough because you burned yourself out, right? So you don't need to do more than your best. And you definitely don't do less. Never give less than your best. Why not? Well, because then you're opening yourself up for feelings of frustration, self-judgment, guilt, and regret. If you don't do your best, you will be your biggest critic. I guarantee it. You will be your biggest regret. Right? Because you will have known that you cheated yourself. So always do your best, right? Expressing who you are is taking action. Having a great idea in your head means nothing without action. Remember that. It means nothing without action. That's why it's important that you start. That you start your small business. That you start your corporation. That you start selling what you want to sell. That you start your business. Why? Because if you don't start, nothing happens. Nothing happens. If you start, you have something tangible. Something going. That's very important. Do your best, right? Because you love it. Not because you expect a reward. People that do things for a reward is so short-lived. That feeling of euphoria, that feeling of happiness, that feeling of accomplishment. Because it's based on a thing that they get. Right? But when you do your best because you know that you're able to do your best and because that's what you should do as an abled person, no matter what happens, you will live with the consequence because you know you did your best. Right? This will bring you greater joy than any reward. Right? And I'm going to get a little philosophical here towards the end, or a little bit religious here at the end, but it's true. The best way to show God that you love him is to always do your best in everything that you do, and take true joy in the fact that you can do your best and that you did do your best. Right? You can let go of the past, no matter how bad or effed up it is, because you allow yourself to be joyous and grateful in the moment that is happening now. Always do your best in the first three agreements, and you will be able to slowly but surely able to keep all four agreements and live life freely. You don't know this. You don't need to know anything. You don't need to prove anything. Just to be, exist, take risks, and enjoy your life is what matters. Always do your best to keep the agreements, and you will see your life transform. If you fail, start again. If you fail on an agreement, start again. And then start again. And then start again and start again and start again. Challenge yourself to do it. Be impeccable with your word. Do your best at that. Do your very best. Number 2, don't take anything personal. Do your very best. Number 3, do not make any assumptions. Do your very best. And it's human nature to fail at these things. So you're going to fail. But you get back up and you do it again. And then number 4, you do your best. Always. Always. Right? So, guys, I know that was long. That was my longest podcast ever. So if you're still listening, thank you. Thank you. I really appreciate it. And I hope you got something out of that. Because I did. And let me tell you, I guess I'm kind of glad this book is small. Because I could take it with me, put it in my pocket. If I'm having a rough week at work, having a rough day, I know something big's coming up, I'm not feeling right, I need a little reminder. This is something that I can just pull out, look and refer real quick, and get my mind back straight. Right? Because I don't know about you, but I want to live a life full of real peace and full of real joy, meaning, purpose. Right? And I know that keeping these 4 agreements to myself, is going to be a big part of helping me keep that promise to myself and helping me keep that journey forward. Right? That journey of real peace, self-love, and freedom in living this life. Right? There's a lot of weight that we carry sometimes, and this is a way to continuously lift that weight from your shoulders. All right, so don't forget, y'all, be impeccable with your word. Don't take anything personal. Don't make assumptions, and do your best. All right, I really appreciate you guys. Appreciate the love. Appreciate the support. Please like, share, subscribe my channel. I appreciate you guys so much. God bless. Go Dodgers. Let's force Game 7. And on a side note, Lakers, get your shit together. All right. Peace. Thank you guys so much. Blessings. Peace.